Hey guys, welcome back again. And this video is actually a unplanned video actually. So I didn't have any plans or any notes before. So I just saw this update from Vercel. I heard about this few days ago. It was actually launched on Monday. You can see here, but I was able to get my hands on this today. Okay, so I went through half of this blog post and I really thought this was really interesting and I just immediately started making a video on this. Okay, so we'll explore this together and then we'll actually see what is this new update from Vercel and then how is this going to change the way we develop. Okay, so if you're following development for a couple of days or couple of weeks, you know that we are discussing about server components, right? So we are going through some of the basics before we jump into server components. And that was one of the reason why I stress about server components a lot is because it unlocks a lot of potential opportunities for you guys, and basically it gives us so many things that we can do without having a backend. Okay, and then right now Vercel announced the storage, which even adds upon that particular feature. Okay, so we'll see what exactly is the storage and then how is this going to benefit us a lot. Okay, so basically, Vercel is supporting around 4 databases. One is KV, Postgres, Blob, and Edge. Okay, so KV is one of the, you can see KV is like a serverless Redis. So Redis is like a cache solution. Okay, so Redis is a cache. If you know cache, like, it stores like a key and value pairs, and it's basically, it stores data in memory, in RAM. It's very fast and very easy to access. If it's in database, that will be in hard drive or SSD. Okay, so Redis stores everything in memory. Okay, and then it's using Upstash. So Upstash is one of the provider and it's really good provider. You should check it out. And then they're using Postgres database. So they're supporting a SQL database that is powered by Neon. So Neon is a serverless Postgres database. So I'm using Neon for one of my side project and it's pretty good, to be honest. So they provide you scalability out of the box. So if your database is growing, if your user base is growing, you don't have to manually go and increase your computation power or increase your servers and everything. So Neon will take care of that out of the box. Okay, and then it's pretty good thing that Next.js is actually using Neon as their Postgres database, and then they're using Cloudflare R2 to store Blob. So Blob, in essence, here it can be anything. It can be your document, it can be your images, it can be your videos, anything. Okay, and then they're using Cloudflare R2 to store them. Okay, it's really great alternative compared to AWS S3, and then this actually unlocks the ability for you guys to update, upload your images from React component directly. Okay, so for me personally, when I choose for file uploading, I choose S3, and then I was really hating it, to be honest, because I have to I have to write a backend API for that. I have to create a signature first, and then I have to use a signature with a URL to upload it to S3. It used to work, but it was not an optimal solution. It was just like a painful process, a lot of boilerplate code here and there. Okay, but this makes it really simple. Okay, it not only eliminates that S3 dependency and then writing the signature and everything, but it also helps me to upload the file directly from React component. Okay, that's a real plus. And combining this with the React server components, it's a game changer, because you guys know React server components run entirely on the server. So instead of defining a separate API and then calling the API in your components, that's what we used to do when you work with S3, uploading to S3. You can write all your logic in one single file, and then that file will be as server components and that will run on the server. So you don't have to worry about making API calls, all those jabber and everything. Okay, this is really simple solution and it makes it really amazing. And they're using Cloudflare R2, which is like this stores your files on the edge. Okay, unlike S3, it doesn't store that in some random somewhere around the world in some hard drive and then you have to make a request to that particular location or region. It's not like that. R2 actually stores your asset on the edge. So user would get your asset a lot faster compared to S3. So if we have like user images or some images, right? And when the user logs in, they have to see all those images. For example, social media application, you have to show images for the user when they sign in, right? So you can use this, and then R2, the Cloudflare R2 will make sure that all your images are in the edge, available at the edge. So when the user logs in, they can get that images a lot faster compared to the images stored in S3. Because in S3, it's bare bone, it's stored in databases, in the hard drives. Okay, but in R2, even though it's stored on hard drives, it is available in the edge. That is very much required. If you don't know what is edge and everything is, don't worry, I'll make another video about it. What do I mean by edge and everything? But right now, just imagine this. When I say edge, it is pretty near to your application server or pretty near to your user. So if your user is here, then edge would be here. So they can easily request it. Something like that. Okay. All right. Now moving on, you can actually choose this when you deploy it to Vercel. Again, this is only available in Vercel, of course. So if you choose like AWS Amplify or Netlify to deploy your application, then you won't get this. You have to deploy it to Vercel. Okay, because how would they make money if you do that? Okay, so and then why now? So they also have like why now section, like why are they doing this now? Because what I've seen some of the comments regarding this, people are saying that like, you know, Vercel is transitioning to AWS for React developers and everything. So to be honest, I don't care if they change to it, if they are migrate, if they are becoming an AWS of React developers or Google Cloud of React developers. The only thing that I care is they are making sure that we developers get an amazing experience. Of course, they're also making sure that we developers won't move out of Vercel. They're like actually locking us to Vercel ecosystem only. It's like vendor lock. We call that as vendor lock. By providing all these services, they're making sure that you don't actually choose someone else other than Vercel. Okay, but you can just keep it aside. But other than that, all the benefits that we're getting is amazing. Okay, so we're getting database out of the box, we get server out of the box, we get server components, all those stuff with Vercel. We get edge functions as well with Vercel, and it's really amazing. Okay, and if you go to pricing, the pricing is pretty reasonable as well. So for $20 per month, right? For $20 per, what is the Indian rupees of $20? So it's 1,600 rupees. So let's say 1,700, including taxes and everything. Okay, so for 1,700 rupees, you get all of these things, like literally everything. You get edge functions, like you can run your API or functions on edge computing. You can get all these storage, right? And you can get even your React application will be deployed on the edge. It's a lot faster from there. And you can get your image storage, image optimization, everything from the edge. Okay, with just $20 per month. That's really, I mean, that pricing is really reasonable. That's what I would say. Moving on, here's how you can actually do it. So Vercel KV, durable Redis database. So all you have to do is you just have to import it and then just define it. That's all. So if you want to get something, you just use the keys. If you want to add something, you just use the key and then add it. This is similar to like, you know, we used to do in local storage, right? We'll say local storage set item, local storage get item, something like this. So in the Redis database, it's like key value. You'll have a key and then you'll have a value. That's it. Okay, that's what Redis database is all about. And then here you can see you're trying to get a value by the key. And then here you're trying to set a new value by the key. So there is no configurations or anything required. So all you do is you just import, start writing. Vercel will take care of the rest. Okay, so you don't have to install Redis, you don't have to configure Redis, you don't have to run the Redis. I mean, if you have actually used Redis, you know how hard it is, especially in Windows system. It's very hard to use Redis in Windows system if you don't have Docker installed. If you're not running it from Docker containers, it's very hard to use Redis. Okay, but this makes it really easy. And the fact that they're using Upstash is really great because Upstash is one of the best provider. And then you can also think that you can also consider this as vendor lock as well, because they knew that if people want caching or Redis ecosystem or Redis implementation, they would go to Upstash. So what they did was that why don't you just use Vercel version of Upstash? So they just partnered with Upstash so that people will still stay in Vercel and use Upstash services. So it's just like indirectly blocking you or locking you inside Vercel ecosystem itself. Okay, and then similarly, if you scroll down, you can see how you can use Postgres with Next.js here. All you have to do is you have to just import SQL from Postgres and then just start writing your SQL queries. As simple as that. No database connection, or I mean the database will be connected at the root, but here you can see everything is straightforward and direct. So all you have to do is you just have to write your SQL query and there you go. And if you're someone like me who does not want to write SQL queries directly and who would used to use ORM, you can also do that. So I saw that Vercel is also supporting ORMs like Prisma or Drizzle or something like that. So Prisma actually has some drivers that are being built, and even Next.js has some examples of Prisma as well. So what is Prisma and what is Drizzle? Like what is this ORM? So ORMs are like, instead of writing this bare bone query like this, like insert into products and everything, you would define it like an object, like in a declarative way. So you guys know JavaScript objects and everything, right? So you would define it something like that, which will later be transitioned into an SQL query in the runtime. So you don't have to write your SQL query like this in from hand. Okay, I mean from directly, of course you write it from hand, from directly, but it would be transitioned or converted into SQL query later in runtime, and you would define it as an object. So it's very easy to read as well. Many people prefer that because it's very easy to maintain. Okay. So that's how you would do it. And if you notice one thing, all these are server components. Okay, all these are server components. And here, this is one of the feature that they have actually leaked. I actually saw this from Theo, that he mentioned that this feature is actually leaked. So here you can see it's a function, and then they're directly assigning that to a form. And if you're familiar with React server components, this is invalid because you cannot include or you cannot call this functions which are inside for a particular JSX, because that's an invalid rule of React server components. You cannot include that. But here it's possible. This is because of something called server actions. I think it's action server, something. I mean, it involves action server or server actions. I'm not familiar with that. I'll confirm that again. Okay, this is a new feature of Next.js that they'll be dropping after some days or maybe some weeks. Okay, so what it lets you actually write async function that runs on the server, and then you can actually include that here for a form or in any on click or on change. Okay, that's possible. So that will be dropped. That support will be dropped in the future, but this is possible as well. They shouldn't have done this, but they have just leaked it. Maybe they leaked it on purpose. Okay, and the next thing is we have easy file storage as well at the edge. So basically they're using Vercel Blob, and this is actually so simple. Look at the way this is actually structured. You just call put request and then start uploading the image. And this is actually, they're using a file system here. They're actually uploading it from a file. But let's say if you're using like upload from, if you're using upload from, what is that? Upload button and everything. Then what you have to do is you have to convert that file to a blob, and then you have to pass that data here. You might have to pass like a multi-part form data. Okay, that should work. You don't have to make a request to AWS S3 for a signature and then use put request to upload to that signature. No need, that's not necessary now. All you have to do is accept a file from the user, convert that to multi-part form data, and then start sending that form data to this. This will take care of the rest. Okay, so don't worry about it if you're not familiar with all those stuff or file uploading and everything. Of course, I have that on my list. I'll make a video on that after server components, of course. Okay, because if I need to show all these things to you, I need to have server components ready. Like I need to have a server components tutorial or video on my channel. So that's what I'm trying to do. But this was so interesting that I actually pushed server components for the next week, and then I'm actually making this video right now. And this is completely unfiltered. Okay, there's no notes with me or anything. There's no script as well. I'm just making a video on the fly. Okay, so let's just take some look at how this would look like in the real deployment. I don't have my code myself, but I'm actually having like examples from Next.js itself. So we'll just go to their code. So one of the deployments that Vercel has made is here. So they have deployed this Vercel Postgres with, I don't know how to spell this by the way, but this is one of the ORM. Okay, Kivsli or something, but this is one of the ORM as well, something similar to Prisma. Okay, so you can actually see the examples of Prisma as well, Prisma, Drizzle, Kivsli and everything. So what am I actually seeing here? So you're actually seeing this data that is fetched from Postgres. Okay, that is deployed on Vercel. And this is actually a demo. They're just showing you a demo. And this actually is using all these ORMs as examples. So if you go to starter, this is using like a bare bone SQL. If you go to Kivsli, or I don't know how to pronounce that, man, to be honest, but don't mind about that. Okay, it's using that as ORM. If you click on Prisma, it uses Prisma as ORM. So, but you can see, right? So the data is being fetched. It means that it is working and it is coming from Postgres on Vercel. Okay, that's the whole point of this demo. And if you go to, let's go back. Let's get started with KV. It's loading. Okay, till it loads, let's take a look at code. Okay, it's here. Let's click on demo. So this is the Redis demo that is using KV, that is Upstash. This is Vercel KV. that is Upstash, and it says that announcing Vercel KV, and you can see this was fetched from the cache. Okay, this was fetched from the cache and it was so quick, okay, to fetch it. And it says the Vercel KV demo built with Next.js app router. So this app router is actually a new feature of Next.js 13. It was actually made stable. It was in beta initially. So let's look at examples of the code. So right now we're looking at KV Redis starter code from storage, that is from Next.js repo. So if you can see here, there is no page directory, right? If you know Next.js, you know that there will be a page, but here there's no page because this is using app router. So you have to go to app here, and then you can see there's page.tsx. So this is the code. Okay, so this is the code. And if you take a look at the component, if you take a look at component and view counter, if you take a look at view counter, you can see here it's using KV, and then it's getting the increment of views. Okay, so it's just getting increment of views, and it's just basically incrementing it. Okay, if you go to expand arrow, this is just the component, but this is a server component. Okay, it's basically incrementing the views counter. Okay, so let's check the demo again. I want to see the view. Yes, so where is the view? Okay, it's 45411. If I refresh, what happens? Does it increase? Okay, it's still loading for me though. My network is a bit slow. It's the issue from my network, not from Vercel. Okay, don't just think like, okay, it's slow and everything. Okay, yeah, it's actually increasing. You can see they're able to get this view counter from the cache. Okay, now it's incrementing. So this is where they're incrementing it. So they're calling kv.increment and they're specifying the keys, that is views. So this kv, which is using Redis in the background, is having a key called view, and the value is right now, the current value is 5412. So if I refresh, it's going to display, this component will run on the server. It will increment the views, which is 5412 to 5413. If I go back, you can see it's 5413 now. So it is updated from the cache. Okay. So now let's take a look at Postgres starter kit. Again, this is using app router, and this is actually components table. Okay, so here if you can see the table now, we can see they are calling await SQL select from users, and then relations user does not exist. If there is any error, they are telling the table does not exist, create or seeding with dummy data now. So what they're doing here is they are checking for the message. This message comes from the database that the user table does not exist, but people doesn't understand this, right? If I just show this for a random person, a layman, they won't understand this. So they are actually console logging it as like a very readable message saying that the table does not exist. So we create a dummy data, and then they are seeding it. So this seed is basically like to create a dummy data. Okay, so we use this term seed a database and everything. So when you say seed a database or seed a form or anything, it means that they populate the database with the dummy data. Okay, and then they can see they're calling the same query again, and then they would get the data. So they're storing that in the data variable, and then they're displaying it here. So users.map, where is users? So here they are exporting users, and then they're mapping it. So you can see map. That's what they're doing. So pretty simple code actually. There's no complex here, nothing complex here. I actually was amazed by the simplicity here. This is one of the things that I love about Vercel. They make it very developer friendly. They don't expect you to do all those hefty configurations like AWS does, to be honest. But this is very simple and straightforward. Really excited to use this. And I know I didn't actually show you with any code samples though, but let me just make some notes on this. Let me create a simple project so that I can show you guys all the examples that we're using here. Okay, and again, these are an amazing updates. We'll actually be using this a lot. And again, if you are not familiar with something here, we'll actually try to include this in our open source project that we're building, Artplace and Meet and everything. And if you're not in Duo Engineering, start signing up. The link is in bio. There are already many people who have signed up for all the issues, and they are actually working on that. So if you're someone who wants to build project, who wants to contribute to open source and need mentorship for that for free, Duo Engineering is the place for you. Okay, start signing up for Duo Engineering and start filling up the form which project you want to work. We'll add you to our Discord and you can start working on it. Okay, so thank you so much guys. We'll meet in the next video. Bye-bye.